You want to go ahead and get started, Pastor?
Okay. I want to say good evening to everyone and welcome to our Resiliency of the Family. This is the first session of the year of 2024. My name is Nathaniel Thomas, Pastor Thomas at Forrestville New Redeemer Baptist Church. And I've been pastoring for close to 30 years. And our church has been in existence for 70 years. And we are moving into a partnership with Brother Todd and Sister Mia Minor with the Matthew Minor Foundation. And we're going to be talking about some issues that parents as well as youth need to know in terms of some of the dangers and the things that we need to watch out for, and to as also watching our children. Before we get started, let us bow our heads in prayer, please. Father God in heaven, we come to the stage to say thank you. We thank you for what you have done. We thank you, oh God, for what you are now doing. We're asking you to bless this session tonight, that you will continue to give us the wisdom, the knowledge that will come with the understanding of what's going on in our social media and how we are able to do a better job in protecting our children, in navigating and helping them to navigate through the process, that it won't turn to be a tragic end. But oh God, we know that you are still in the blessing business, and you're the one that will hold us, keep us, and continue to guide. Bless the guest that is going to be with us tonight, oh God, as they share their story, that will be empowering in order for us, for them, through them, to help us do a better job. In all these blessings we ask in your name we pray. Amen. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Mia, Sister Mia, and
Yes, sir.
Todd, and they're going to share a little more about the Matthew Minor Foundation as we go forth tonight, and then they will also be introducing our special guest for the evening.
Well, thank you, Pastor, and thank you everybody for joining. Really appreciate you coming out or connecting. Just real quick, Pastor, just wanted to go over why we're coming together. And I'm
Yes.
just that first bullet. We realized the need to foster resiliency in our community with an emphasis on family, which supports our young people and parents who are the true strength of our community. So, that kind of just explains why we're here together. Mia, did you want to help me with kind of going over the foundation?
We after the death of our son, we formed the foundation for surviving parents and be advocates for online child safety. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization created in 2019, and are committed to bringing awareness about cyberbullying, knockout challenges, and blackout challenges, and any harmful danger to the online community. Todd and Mia we lost our son, Todd, Matthew, uh, uh, to one of these online challenges, and we provide help to families coping with grief and loss of losing a loved one, such as the building resiliency sessions. We have established a scholarship fund for DMV college-bound students in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area.
Yeah, that's good.
For future educational goals.
Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead. No, I didn't want us, since the slide was up, I didn't want to, since we only have an hour, I wanted to
Okay.
have it up and go over it. But you did great, and thank you so much for that. And so just for the sake of time, I'm keeping us going. This is Pastor Thomas introduced himself, but because this is being recorded, I always want to show the slide for just a certain amount of time, Pastor, so they can actually see it who may be looking at the video later.
Yes, yes.
And without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and introduce tonight's speaker. Jackie is a wonderful individual, and she's a person that brings light into dark places. She lights up the room and just is a wonderful person. She's as you can see here, she's a wife, mother, CEO of Khadijah Scholarship Foundation, a nonprofit organization. She's have been a legal assistant for over 20 years, and she's a co-author of Amazon's #1 bestseller, The Mom and Me. She's a speaker, visualizer, and survivor. And then you have the website and contact information there. We're just so happy to have you here, Jackie. And without further ado, I'll turn it over to you, Jackie.
Okay, thank you guys. Hello, everyone. Welcome to tonight's session. A little nervous, but mostly family is here, so that makes a little bit comfort. Thank you to Todd and Mia for inviting me. You guys know exactly, what I've dealt with now that you have also had that same loss. So tonight they have asked me to talk about grief and surviving it. I lost my daughter Khadijah to a brainstem glioma. Oh, I thought somebody was trying to say something. So I lost my daughter Khadijah to brainstem glioma in October 1st of 2004. She actually was diagnosed with it in July of 2003. Basically, it was not too much warning. The type of tumor that she had was on the brainstem. It's called the brainstem glioma. It's a fast-growing tumor. Some of the signs that we realized, basically, she had headaches, drooping of the face, and then her gait, meaning she would walk off a little bit. So we had very little, not too many. When she was diagnosed, like literally the MRI was basically the only thing that picked it up, because she basically lived a normal life. She had headaches, very little headaches. In fact, her pediatrician thought that because she was 9 and starting to go through puberty, that could have been the cause of everything. And not knowing that, was something much bigger than that. So, and I think it was actually Father's Day, which I had lost my father at the time. It was Father's Day and his birthday that same day when the doctor reached out to me. She was actually in Virginia visiting my mom for the summer. We lived in Atlanta. So she came back home to visit my mom over the summer. And my mom took her to the local hospital, which they needed my permission to transfer her to MCV. So I gave them permission, and I immediately booked a flight coming home. And then that next day, we waited all day to get the MRI. And then shortly thereafter, our lives changed forever. The prognosis was that her survival rate was little, pretty much 0. And she had 18 months to 2 years survival to live. So of course, our lives changed forever. Even with dealing with, not knowing how to deal with the emotions that she was feeling, I had to, take on this new thing of like, my child is sick and I can't change it. So that put a lot of stress on me. But my family, we are very strong, big, tight-knit family. So I came back to Virginia and I leaned on them for that, for all that support that I would need going through this. So unfortunately, Deja, she didn't get the 2 years. So she lived a year and 3 months after her diagnosis. However, that didn't stop her. Like, she was still Khadijah, and to the very end. She wanted to continue going to school. She actually got a school board meeting for her to attend school, because I'm like, what child wants to attend school? But she had a school board meeting for her to attend school, just because of the risk that could happen, and with the teachers, they're not knowing, what could happen. We are very new to this. We don't know what could happen at school. So she won that meeting. The school board allowed her to go to school, and she did go to school. She put everything that she wanted to do, she made sure she did. Along with like even riding the bus. I'm like, you don't want to ride the bus. And everything she wanted to do, I had to let her do it so that she could at least try. So with that being said, that is why I created, in her memory, a scholarship foundation, because school was so important to her. She always had great grades in school. She loved all people. She would tell me all the time, she had such an infectious smile. She would tell people all the time, I love everyone, Mom. So, losing her was just not a big loss to me, but our entire family, the community. So as Todd has up some of her fun facts about Khadijah, her favorite color was purple. So as you can see, I have a purple shirt. Every year that we have our event, then our team DJ, who volunteers and help us, we wear purple in memory of her, because that's her favorite color. Even at the young age of 7 and 8, her favorite restaurant was Red Lobster. I probably have a little bit to do with that. If she was with someone else, they'd be like, where do you want to go eat? And she's going to respond Red Lobster, and they're thinking, oh, you don't want McDonald's? So, she had a very living, vibrant, she always spoke her mind, and she would let people know exactly how she felt. In fact, right before her diagnosis, we came home to go to our home church, Antioch Baptist Church in Champlain, Virginia, where she told me, she said, Mom, I want to be baptized. So this was before her diagnosis, shortly before her diagnosis. And I talked to our pastor, and, he was kind of hesitant. He was like, she's kind of young. I'd rather, wait. And then after her diagnosis, he was like, she knew exactly what she wanted to do. So I say that, when kids speak, you have to listen. That's number one. Because, they also have feelings. And I knew that leading up to that, that is what her feelings were, that she asked to be baptized at such an early age. My grandma, she made me go up to the pulpit and say, you're going to get baptized now. So when they ask, you just go up, but not her. She asked me to go be baptized, and that's what we did. Her favorite entertainer was Bow Wow. She loved cheerleading. Like, she was active, she was fast, just a beautiful soul, the old soul. Like, most people that met her is like, she really has an old soul. She was a young child, but she was very, intellectual, very smart. She loved all people. She can be sassy. So, but she was all around a loving child. So after we got the diagnosis, and she passed, God knew that I was dealing with not only losing my daughter, but I was starting to lose my faith, because I'm like, my baby girl, she's not been sick. She's perfect. She loves everyone. How could this be happening to me? So as I am, providing care for her, I had to be strong so she couldn't see me be weak. I had to be strong for her, in addition to, not breaking down in front of her. That meant that I couldn't break down in front of her. She had to know that I was going to be strong so that everything would be okay. But I think it was the last day that she could talk. Khadijah, she said, Mom, I think it's time to write my dying wish. And I lost my brother in a car accident in his senior year, and I lost my father. So I was no stranger to losing and loss. And both of those times, I remember them stating someone that already, it's my dad, when he passed, he stated that, was someone that already passed. So I asked her, why did she see angels? And she said, no, his hand is on me. And I said, whose hand? And she said, God's hand is on me. So I couldn't break down. She didn't cry. She didn't whimper. She was strong, saying such words like that, that I had no choice but to be as strong as she was. But that was also God's way of letting me know, this is me. I'm here with you. So that is what helped me build my faith back up. Um, my family was there every step of the way. My church family was there every step of the way. I come from Hustle, Virginia, which is a small rural area. I grew up on a farm. So everyone in the area knows everyone. The community really came together and gave us support as we were going through sickness. They came together and got us back and forth to the hospital for her visits, and just, made us feel loved during a hard time that we were going through. So a lot of people, after she passed, they would initially, I had all the emotions that most people would have. I had anger. I was very sad, depression, all of that. And unfortunately, when you have such a loss like that, the grief never goes away. So if you're dealing with grief and you're thinking that, today is a bad day, I have a book that I wrote about Khadijah for the very first time, The Mom and Me Too. And in that book, the chapter is called Tomorrow Will Be Better. During the time that she was sick, I would say that because, you get so many calls and you're like, how are you doing? How's Khadijah doing? And initially I was like, she's okay. Until I had to let myself know, because I'm a person that did not like sympathy. But I've learned that it's okay to have empathy. So although I didn't want the sympathy and people feeling sorry for me, I learned that it's okay for people to have the empathy for you. And I just started saying, you know what? Today is not a good day, but tomorrow will be better. So every day I still live my life to this day saying, tomorrow will be better. If I'm having a bad day, if it's a day that reminds me of Khadijah, or anyone else that I've lost, then, no, today is not a great day, but tomorrow will be better. And not necessarily meaning tomorrow. If tomorrow is not a better day, I'm going to say it again, because eventually tomorrow will be better. So I think I've always told Mia and Todd that, and anyone. I've had a lot of parents reach out to me to speak about losing a child, because until you're in that situation, you just don't know how it feels. Initially, I went to get therapy from providers, and that kind of, it didn't work for me. So initially, I went to see, I think it was about 5 different psychologists talking, but I was just talking. They wasn't, helping me, how to deal with my grief. They wasn't helping me because they didn't understand my grief. They could only read about it in the books that they have gone through going to school or something like that. It wasn't until I joined a group of parents who also lost their child that I could feel some sort of comfort that they knew exactly what I was feeling. If it was just listening to them, if I could just tell my story, they was also listening. But I felt the sense of, gratitude at that point. Like, I'm not the only one. And sometimes that's what you need to do, is to talk to other people that have been through what you've been through. Again, the one-on-one psychologist, that didn't work for me, but it may work for someone else at that time. I saw that, soon after she passed. Now, today, I still see, I just started back seeing someone who I just needed to talk to, because, again, even though she passed away in 2004, it's still with me each and every day. The reason why we did the foundation initially, 2011, we did a car and bike show, and it was just to have her name said on the stage of her senior graduation, which would have been 2012. I just needed to hear her name, because I think the senior year after she passed was probably one of the hardest years because of all the memories, the things that I'm thinking we're not getting to do. You know, I missed that chance. So I just needed to hear her name on the stage. So me and my family, we came up with doing a car and bike show. And we got a scholarship for one of her classmates that she actually went to school with to and going to college in memory of her. That little scholarship, you know, made the world difference to them because they were excited that they got it, and it made a world of difference to us because it helped us deal with the pain that we lost. So, and that was back in 2011, and this is 2024. And needless to say, the community support and my family support has kept this going to now. We've awarded over $58,000 directly to schools and colleges in memory of Khadijah. So her memory is living on. You know, I know that that's something that she would want me to do, just because she loved going to school. She had dreams and aspirations of being a doctor, and it takes hard work for that. So these kids, the recipients that have went, they are not just picked. They have to do an application. They have to qualify for it. We look for traits that they would have, that Khadijah would have. So again, we've given over $58,000 in these last 12 to 13 years, and it's solely because of the community support and my family. I mean, I can't speak enough of my family. I wouldn't know how I would have dealt with all this without my family. So, you know, that family support means everything. Knowing that Todd and Mia has been through the same thing, you know, I just tell them to keep pushing. You know, what you're doing, Matthews, you know, that means so much to them because, you know, they lost their son and they don't want other people to be, to have that same outcome. You know, they're doing big things on Capitol Hill, hoping to get the social media platform shut down so that it's no more of these games and choke challenges or whatever. So the support that each parent or each family do in memory of their loved one is not just to be doing it. It's to mean for something. It helps us cope with losing them because even though it's been since 2004, she would be 30 years old this year, and each day is different. So you need to have that faith foundation, number one. And I'm glad that God was able to give it to me because had she not said that, I don't know, you know, what my faith would have been like, you know, because I've lost so much. Pretty much my immediate family. I've lost my whole immediate family. So, you know, that faith is what has kept me. The foundation is what keeps me going. And her memory, I'm living to this day, I'm living for Khadijah because I have to get to heaven to her. So when I think about, you know, doing something that's not so right, what would she do? You know, I got to get to her. Today could be my last day. I may not have another chance. So again, that faith, you know, I feel that her spirit is with me all the time. You know, I do miss her like crazy, but having the family support and having the foundation and just having so many kids come up to me and saying, you know, I want to get Khadijah scholarship. You know, kids that didn't even know about her story have came up by way of reading about her on our website to say that, you know, she was such a great person and I want the scholarship in memory of her. That means a lot to me as a mom, knowing that this child wants to go to college and she wants to go in Khadijah's memory.
That's very powerful, Jackie. And just I noticed that you had Khadijah got she got a trip, didn't she? To Orlando.
Yes. So in another family, the small town that we live in, if you're not family, you're like family anyway. One of the ladies who was taking us back and forth to the doctor, she reached out to Make a Wish Foundation. Make-A-Wish gave me a call and said, I think they reached out. Probably my mom had something to do with it because I'm sure they needed some kind of documentation to let them know that, yes, this is real. This is her prognosis. And they sent us, we were able to have guests. So my sister and my niece at the time, they were able to come with us. And this was after her radiation was done, to where, Khadijah looked normal again, like as she was going through the radiation, because of the swelling and everything. Her changed a little bit. Her look changed a little bit. So, after the radiation, it shrunk the tumor. We even did a trial run at NIH to see if it was something that could be done, because a surgery was not an option for her because of where the tumor was. My Aunt Shirley, who's actually on the call tonight, she got our medical records up to Ben Carson at the time, who was, I think he was in Baltimore at the time. We got a second opinion from him. He was the head neurologist up there. We even got another opinion from St. Jude's, and everyone said that, it's nothing that they could do. So when people say it's nothing that they can do, I mean, it just breaks you down. So I had a praying grandmother. I had a praying mom. I got a praying family. So even when I was too hurt to pray, I had a praying family that kept us together, because, the community that we're in, by them just sending us our name. I didn't even know anything about, being selected until the last minute, when they're saying, this is the date. What dates can you choose? They verified with her doctors to make sure it was okay for her to do this. And they sent us on a trip for a week where she was just treated like a princess. And when we went, we stayed at this, it was like somewhere where all their Make-A-Wish people came to. So it was just awesome for her to feel normal again, for her to not have to think about going to the doctor, for her not to, feel like she couldn't do. So we had an awesome time. So yeah, that definitely was one of the highlights of during the time that she was diagnosed.
Yeah, Jackie, this is Pastor Thomas. I want to know, in the early stages upon the passing of your daughter, can you share with us how you felt at that time in terms of letting your feelings out? I heard you say you had anger. There was some anger, but were there other kinds of feelings that you would like to share with us that may be able to help someone else?
Sure. I had all feelings. I was angry. I was sad. I felt like, why is this happening to me? Unfortunately, I had thoughts of not wanting to be here, like, if she's not here, if I can't do this for her, then what's my purpose,
Yeah.
So it was a very dark time doing that. And I know you said, as we're going through this, when she was pretty much going through treatment, I didn't have time to worry about my feelings.
Right.
So pretty much my feelings at the time that she was going through the treatment before she passed, as if I'm around family, it was okay. But when I was asleep in my bedroom at night, when I'm by myself, I cried mostly. So it was a lot of crying. And then after she passed, I moved to Northern Virginia by myself. It always been, me and Khadijah. So now I kind of moved quickly after she passed, just because she was put on hospice. So she actually passed where we live, in my mom's home.
Yes.
So I couldn't stay there. I just wanted to move, staying in the room that she passed in was very hard. So I had cousins that, and I always had champagne taste with beer money. So we went right up to the Skyline Towers, and we got me an apartment before I had a job. So, and they helped me. But again, those are when those feelings came in that I'm all alone. I don't have anyone. You know, I think the only thing that probably stopped me from, doing harm to myself was thinking, if this doesn't work, my mom's going to kill me. So, I can remember saying it's like, I can't do this to my mom because she lost a child. She knew what I was feeling. So I had to like, if she did this, I had to be able to, just wait, So even going to church after her passing was hard. Like I couldn't listen to the music. I couldn't listen to the pastor. It just brought up too much emotions. So I waited, I gave myself time. But the one thing I didn't stop doing was praying.
Let me ask you, because I heard you early on said that if it wasn't for the church, you would it really helped you get through. But I also hear you say that at a point you could not listen to the music, you couldn't hear the preaching. At what point were you able to uh, deal with that in terms of the church support to you?
They never stopped. They kept checking on me.
Right.
The church members at that time, Khadijah, she was a member of the church. She was the princess of the church. She did many programs, money raising programs for the church. So she was the little princess of 2004. So even after she passed, like if I didn't come, I had someone to check on me, or my mom. It was the Sunday dinners at my mom that kept me going. Like, my mom, she basically did the hospitality at church.
Mhm.
So if I couldn't be inside the church when they were praying and the service was going on, she was in the back preparing for meals and stuff. So I would go back there with her. So it was her that helped me. And she was like, you gotta be strong. You can get through this. It was the constant reminder that I'm not alone. Like, and I just kept praying until I think it was not long after that, our church began doing praise dancing. And that was something that I was interested in. So eventually I started to praise dance. And then, even though sometimes I'm praise dancing and tears are running down my eyes, I was able to do it.
Okay. So in other words, it puts you at a point of beginning to get involved that help you still deal with the grief in spite of even to this very day. That grief is still there. It would
Yeah.
never go away. But at the same time, being able to deal with some other aspects of people's support, whether it was family, whether it was church, or those within the community that was right there behind you that helped you continue to work through. Does that still hold true right now?
To this day,
Oh,
yes.
okay.
Hmm. Yes, my son, in fact, he was just baptized last October. And again, when you're in church, the church that I was brought up in, we're in the country, and my grandparents, we was in church 4 days a week. Probably like we had the school bus to come pick us up. We didn't have a choice whether we wanted to go to church or not. So for my son to actually come to me again and say, "Mom, I want to be baptized," we wasn't even in church when he asked me to do that. Initially, I got scared because I remember Khadijah, coming to me before her diagnosis saying, "Mom, I want to be baptized." So that strong church and faith foundation, that's what's that is my foundation. Without that strong foundation,
Yes.
I don't think it's that people can cope, because again, that grief, the pain, it never goes away.
Did you ever feel any fault as to when your daughter passed with her sickness or what have you? Did you ever felt any fault in that process?
Yes, and in fact, right after the doctor got the MRI report, he actually brought us into not even a consultation room. It was me and my cousin, who's her godfather. He was standing right there. He was getting ready to leave. And the doctor came out and he said, you know, he was real cold, like I was not expecting him to say anything like he did. And as soon as he said, that she has this tumor and she's gonna die, I think one of the first things I said was, God, what did I do?
Mm.
Okay.
You feel like, it's something that you did, like, did I cause this? Like, how did this happen? So yes, initially that was one of the very first things that I felt that, what did I do?
I have a comment. You said something that I think is absolutely fantastic. You said, I live my life every day thinking about Khadijah and doing things and doing it the right way so that I can get to heaven to be with her.
Yes.
I think that is absolutely wonderful. That
Thank
keeps you focused, that keeps you on the right path. Khadijah wouldn't want me to do this. I want to do this for Khadijah, even though Khadijah is not here physically, her spirit is still here and you're still honoring her and you want to get to your baby. If we all
Absolutely.
can think that way, when we have the transition of a child and change our lives so that we can be united reunited with our children.
Yes.
We live a better quality of life. You're gonna still hurt and you still gonna grieve and you're gonna go through things, but that mindset is gonna keep you going better than it would if you didn't have that mindset. That's absolutely wonderful.
Thank you.
Um, and Jackie, I have a question. You know, at least for me, and I guess Mia can speak to it too. But like you said, hearing people being joyous and those kind of things, I couldn't identify with that for a while. I was, what's so good about it and that kind of thing. But then also seeing little kids, like little kids, and maybe like around like Matthew's age or maybe even a little younger. I had a hard time identifying, even in the family or whatever. I just walk away because I couldn't I couldn't it seemed like I couldn't get that connection. I mean, I'm a little bit better now, but I wondered, did anything like that happen, seeing families together and that kind of stuff. Did you have reactions similar to that at all?
Yes, actually, I think it was so she passed in October. In the very first Mother's Day, without her, I'm like, I'm not a mother anymore. So I couldn't be around, for the Mother's Days. I couldn't be, sometimes when the family did get together initially, was hard being around the family, seeing everyone and she's missing. So initially, some things I had to miss, I know that right after she passed, I stayed at home a lot, to myself because some people, they don't know what to say. You may see someone in Walmart and they may say like, oh, well, you can always have another. Like,
Yeah. Oh, that's
I didn't always have that restraint of saying I need to get to Khadijah. So I was needed to make sure that I stayed out of jail. Because when someone tells you something like that, they just have no idea how much you've just broken their heart all over again. I don't care what you may have again, it won't be Khadijah. Like I have my son now, and in fact, I wasn't even sure if I wanted to have a child because I was scared that the loss that I had in Khadijah, it was gonna make me not love this child. So it was so many unanswered questions that I had, but I thank God that he saw fit to give me another child and he looks like Khadijah. And in fact, I'll call him
yeah.
Deja a lot. So, and although he wasn't here when Khadijah was here, he has a connection with her. Like he includes her and everything. If people ask, how many sisters and brothers do you have? He says, I have 3 sisters, so he includes her, and that makes me feel good. I don't hide when I'm sad about Khadijah. When we go to her grave for birthdays and stuff like that, he goes with me. He gets to see what I'm dealing with, and that way he understands, that his sister still has a big effect on everyone here.
Yeah, and another thing that you said, that you previously shared, as far as allowing yourself to go through those emotions and stuff, because I know even for Mia and I, and hopefully it's okay, I'm speaking for you, Mia, but and you can share too. But different times I just bust out crying. I'm like just doing something regular. I didn't even know it was in there, that it needed to come out, and I think that's important too. Allowing yourself the time to grieve.
Yes.
You have like pastors and the staff, individuals that are trained and all that, but they can't be with you 24/7, and so in between those times it's okay to grieve, and then like you said, the other part is no one can tell you what your grief is, and how that fits into a parameter or another. Because I had somebody say, "Hey, well, you should be over it. You good? You should be over it by now." And I'm like, "Oh, over losing my son, over losing my child." I mean, so I know exactly. As soon as you said that, I was like, I would have had to walk away too, because I probably would have been, getting, we would have had some problems, because
Yeah.
losing your child is a grief that's kind of hard to. I mean, I wouldn't even know how to explain it to anybody unless you, like you said, you went through it. But I think you shared so much today that a lot of people in different avenues of their grief or tragedy or something that happened, you may not experience all of it, but you may experience some of it. And
Yeah.
the family, the church, being a strong, kind of those linchpins, and that thing, the hub in the wheel, so to speak, to kind of keep everything together is really good. I wanted to open it up to see if any of our attendees had any questions for Jackie or for anybody.
Todd, I wanted to also say, I was just sitting here thinking, um, you know, one thing is for sure, when you lose somebody close to you, and like I said, I've lost most of my immediate family except for my sister. Um, you know, the grief is always there, the thoughts, everything. But if you lay down and allow that grief to take you over, you can't do that. It's days where I don't want to get up. It's days where I don't want to do things. It's days where, do I really have to go? I have to make myself do things, because the alternative is, if you lay in that grief, the grief will put you in a mindset that you cannot get out. So you have to find some way to make sure that you are filling that void of not just sitting in your grief. You have to give yourself purpose. You have to find what's important to you. If it's something that that you want to do in their honor, whatever it is. My mom, she loved helping and feeding the seniors. One year I did a turkey drive just because, I know that's something that she needed to do. If it's somebody that you need to talk to, everybody is gonna be different. But don't lay in that grief. You have to get up. You have to speak up. You have to let people know, look, I need you, because I've done it before. And that helps, if it's a pastor, if it's your family, if it's seeing counseling, that helps. So you need to get up. You cannot sit there and lay in the grief.
Excellent. That's good.
That's
That's good.
important. And to be honest, it's God lines things up a certain way, whether we know what's going on, because, you lost Khadijah, and then later on we lost Matthew. But I saw that you got, while that was going on, we were talked to about creating the foundation. And I was like, well, I don't know. Kind of those same things. I didn't feel like it. I wasn't sure. But then, I looked to you and Jerry, and, everything that you guys were doing with your foundation. So then I at least inside myself, I think sometimes seeing somebody else doing something and working to overcome their grief and honoring their child and stuff, kind of, it just encouraged me to kind of, me and Mia to kind of keep going and doing something. We didn't know what it was going to look like and that kind of thing, but we knew we had to do something because that, that issue is there and it's affecting other kids and and it until some things get changed, it's going to continue to do so. But I, while everybody was here, I just wanted to say, that we, appreciate that and appreciate, whether you knew it or not, you were like our only reference to what to do and kind of, maybe even to kind of get started with the foundation or something when you lose a child. So definitely appreciate you and Jerry, and just really appreciate everything you guys are doing. And just want to say thank you.
You're very welcome. I wish we didn't have to share
Right.
that same hurt, but
Jackie, I know this is Pastor Thomas again. I noticed you said something very key, and that is we just can't continue to beat up on ourselves, because that's what you was. I think I interpret what you said, what you were saying about that. And I noticed you have a book that you have written, and in does that come from the many memories that you had of your daughter, that you kept a journal on what was your feelings and writing it down? Did that help at all?
Actually, my sister-in-law, she introduced me to the Kimberly, who is the visionary author on this book. She was looking for moms to tell their stories, and whatever story that was. Some of them, I think I was the only one who lost a child, but they were dealing with, it was one mom whose child was ill, and they had to take care of it, different things. So in this book, I think it's 10 authors in this book telling their story. So no, I didn't write that down. Did I write? Yes, but I don't know where that is, because I would write it and put it in the trash. Sometimes I just needed to write it so somebody could know. It felt like I was able to tell someone, even though I wasn't able to talk about it. So, and I know I didn't mention this, but Khadijah's father, her father also committed suicide, actually with me on the phone. So I've been through a lot. And during that time, I did write, and it's been so old, it's actually on a floppy disk, and I don't even know if I'm able to, go back and get what I wrote down, because at that time I was 18 years old. I was just 18 years old. But when I wrote this book, I asked the author, I've been through so much, where do I start? And she said, start from the beginning. So I have one chapter in there, and I pretty much, wrote from us, moving to Atlanta, to Khadijah getting sick, to losing her. And it's ended with, basically letting everyone know that tomorrow will be better. That's the chapter. That's my chapter. It's called Tomorrow Will Be Better. But no, at that time, I didn't write anything, because I think, when you don't want to relive it. Like today is probably the very first time that I've ever talked this publicly, outside of my family, about losing Khadijah, just because, and I didn't know if I was going to make it through this. It's like, I didn't want to cry. I didn't want it to be about sympathy again. I keep telling myself, that I don't want sympathy. But I've just learned, with speaking to my counselor in the last year, I don't need sympathy, but it's okay for me to have empathy.
That's right.
So, so I'm teaching myself that, because sometimes I go so hard to the point where, it comes crashing down,
Yes.
if that makes sense. Like, I put it away. Like, sometimes, even when she first passed, I remember using the mechanism of, she's gone, she's in Atlanta, because that's where we used to live. I didn't want to, put it with she's gone forever. I put it as in she's on vacation, she's with my dad, things like that. So, talking about it on such a platform as this is big for me, but because Todd and Mia asked me to, I couldn't tell them no. So
Yeah, and as you were talking about that, I was kind of just going through what played through when we lost Matthew. At least at a certain point, it was like a movie playing in slow motion, and like I didn't have control of the movie or something. Yeah, it was kind of weird. I don't know if you know what I'm saying, but it seemed like everything was just in a different space. Just getting everything together, the final arrangements, all that. It was just, I just didn't feel like I was, I feel like I was kind of outside myself looking at it, but I was still going through the process. But it seemed like later on I was remembering things. Then during that time, I was just kind of going through the motions almost. I was like totally disassociated. I was just, and it was just like you said, oh, there's somewhere else, that kind of thing. So I don't know if that's a phenomenon or something where it just seems like it's like a slow motion movie or something, but that's the way it was for me, at least the first couple days, maybe to the week after Matthew passed. It just didn't seem real, you know. Uh,
yeah, yeah, it was just like, I think it was just a way for me to cope at the time, whatever could get me through, because I know I had to do that. And my family, they took care of the arrangements mostly. I looked at it, but at that point, arrangements didn't matter, it just didn't matter. It wasn't going to bring her back. It was, how could you say your final goodbye? That's all I was worried about. So, yeah.
Yeah, and thinking about Khadijah, 'cause we watched her a couple times, and I kind of remember like you were saying about Red Lobster, because it's like what, you know, Red Lobster, because I like the biscuits. I don't know what was her favorite dish, but I used to like all the Cheddar Bay biscuits. So when we got there, I was like, cool, I just give me a thing of biscuits. I wasn't a real big seafood person. But one other thing I remembered about Khadijah is that she laughed at my jokes. I didn't think, sometimes I was just talking, and she just started laughing and everything. And I was like, "Is that funny?" She's like, "Yeah, it's funny." I was like, "Oh, okay," And so I always remember that because and that kind of got me to where I was like, maybe I can uh hang around kids and be around them more and stuff. That was more as far as like having to watch them and that kind of thing, because I was still a little bit younger. Where I don't think we had TJ or Matthew then at that
Yeah.
time. But that got me more thinking of starting a family and stuff, kind of interacting with Khadijah and stuff when we were watching her. So I definitely have fond memories about her, and just great stuff. Those are the things that we should hold on to when we go through things like this. We got to remember the happy times as we're going through things, good
Yeah.
times.
And now knowing that, she only had 10 years here, but she impacted so much during those 10 years. I can remember I was 18, and well, I was 17 when I got pregnant. And again, during the time my family found out that I was pregnant during the time of the death of her father. So it kind of probably helped me a little bit, but I can remember my grandmother, she had high hopes for me because my grandmother helped raise me too. So I can remember her sitting me down at the kitchen table to talk to me. And my mom also they wanting to raise, her wanting to raise Khadijah and let me, go to college. But I'm just so thankful that I made those decisions. Like, no, this is my child. I am going to take care of her. I was there for her first steps because, I don't know. I can't say that I live with regret. I don't know if that's something I would be able to handle. And I know they say God doesn't put more on you than you can bear. So leaving her and then living my life and knowing that her life was so short, I don't know if that's something that I could have, handled again. So I'm just thankful that I did step up as the mom and I was there for her, for her first everything. So wherever I went, she was there too.
Fantastic. As I listen to you, Jackie, tonight, you have given a lot of us a lot of helpful tips, as well as I'm sure this was good for you as well. And that is letting your feelings out.
Yes.
You shared, no matter how you felt, you let it out. And at the same time, there was those areas of being patient that you became impatient because of what you was going through as well. And then I heard you say something about, finding ways of being creative. There were different things that you did that you got involved with that helped you navigate some of the issues that in terms of your emotions of what you was feeling, and to be physically active. Can you just, before we close out, can you just tell us a little bit about some of the physical activities you got involved in, or have gotten involved in, or considering to get involved in?
Sure. One of the first things I'll tell you about is, and it's still dear to my heart. Khadijah was a Salvation Army angel tree child, which meant that each Christmas, it was the Salvation Army, they provided angel trees, which the kids who qualified for either help by either, not having parents or they were sick, she had a wish list. So on her wish list, she got to put down what she wanted for Christmas, and then someone would pick that tree. And if you go in Walmart now, I'm not sure if it's up your way, but every year I go to Salvation Army tree. They're mostly provided by Walmart, and I go pick a tree, and I pick on the tree. It's the kids, and I look at their names, and I've been picking a girl that's 10 years old since she's been gone, in memory of her. I did that the very first year that she was gone, and that helps me deal with her, not being here for Christmas, that I'm helping, make someone else Christmas a little bit more joyous, even though Khadijah's not here. The scholarship thing is what we do. We have events, 2 events. We've had 2 events the past couple of years. We have a car and bike show, which is basically like a big community event now. I can remember, I think it was the 10th year that we had, which was probably about 2 years ago. We had over 1,000 people there throughout that day. We counted on our click. So, the community comes together. Even we kind of stopped it one year to try and do a gala, which we did do, and it was successful as well. But everyone loved just coming back to the car and bike show because a lot of people say it's like a family reunion, and we've had so much support. It's never been any negative energy or anything. When they see that purple flyer and my little girl's face on it, they know exactly what it's for. And when I tell people, this is what it's for, my story, when people would just see, like what happened. Sometimes I can tell them and sometimes I can't, but it just lets me know that people want to hear my story. It's other people out there that need to hear my story. And for these other kids to be able to go to college in memory of Khadijah, that's such a big impact on their life as well. We've done a turkey drive for the seniors before, letting them know that, hey, you can get out to the store. I have my team DJ. It's about 40 volunteers that help me with these events every year. And they not only provide their time, but they donate these items for us to be able to give to the senior citizens to have a turkey dinner for Thanksgiving. We have provided kids for youth football camps before for single moms. So like I was a single mom when I had Khadijah, and basically other than my family giving me support, and I can remember my grandmother, she wrote in cursive, like she didn't have a high school graduation. I'm not sure if my grandmother even graduated high school, but she wrote me a letter in cursive to let me know, even though she put me down at that kitchen table to tell me how hard it was going to be to raise that child. When we moved to Atlanta, she wrote me a letter to let me know how proud she was of me, and if I could still send money to help the church. Like my friends down there, she's like, I'm raising money for the church. The church, it was my praying grandmother that gave me that background for my church. So I'm forever grateful for that.
Thank you so very much.
You're welcome.
Okay. Brother Todd, I'm turning it back over to you.
Oh, thank you, Pastor. I just and thank you, Jackie, for just sharing just the powerful story. I heard parts of your story. I mean, that I just didn't know. I mean, so I'm just like all over again, kind of just going through everything and just sending just positivity, prayers, and just everything that I can your way, because I didn't, some of those things I just didn't know. So, you have courage, and building a resiliency, it's not an easy road, and you chip away a little bit at a time just to be able to do what you have to do throughout the day, and I admire that, and I admire the strength from what you shared and everything. So I just pulled up the resource page, and then I wanted to just while we had everybody here, just kind of put up your contact information again, and just go over again as far as the book that that you had mentioned, The Mom and Me, and that is available on Amazon, right?
Yeah, actually, it's available on the website right there,
On the Khadijah website?
khadijahfoundation.org. Yeah, if you click that, the book is available for purchase. So if you're looking to read more of my story, please do. If you have questions, I'm available, and I did it. So this was not only for you guys, but for me as well. Like, I've always wanted to do some more speaking, but I don't think I'm a public speaker. I don't think I'm good at it. And then I didn't know whether I would be able to make it through if I was strong enough. But you don't know if you're strong enough until you try. So thank you for having me.
You were great tonight.
Great.
You were absolutely great.
Thank you.
Brother Todd, can I ask Sister Mia? Mia, do
Yes,
you
sir.
have
I
any
was about to.
closing remarks?
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead. Do you have any closing remarks?
Oh, yes. Jackie, thank
Yes.
you very much. It was a wonderful, it just brings back memories of the time, Khadijah, and, but, like you said, we have a praying family, a close-knit family. I just thank you for, you come participate in being a guest speaker today. And I really appreciate your story. Again, look forward to seeing you.
Yes.
Can I say something?
Yes.
Can I
Yes,
say
ma'am.
something? Jackie, I want you to know that you did a fantastic job, and I am so, so proud of you.
Thank
You
you.
have really made it for a lot of people. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And I would like to say something. Jackie said, I don't know if I'm a speaker or want to be a speaker. God is already using you as a vessel. The
Amen.
things
Yes.
I heard come
Amen.
out of your mouth
Yes.
and the way you expressed everything, I'm here to tell you now, you have a calling that's greater upon you than you realize.
Yes.
You are going to help many, many of people
Many
who
people.
have lost their children. You have exactly what it takes. You are absolutely outstanding.
Ending.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So thank you, Jackie.
Thank you, guys.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, if there are no other questions or comments, you try to respect your time, try to keep it at an hour. So Jackie, thank you, Pastor Thomas, Mia, everybody that's attending. We really appreciate you, and we hope to see you at our February session. So thank you for coming out. Have a great weekend.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Todd.
you.
Can we close out in prayer?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Father God in heaven, we come this evening again to say thank you, oh God. We thank you for the not only the inspiration, but the information that has been shared from Jackie, oh God, that is going to be the kind of information that will help many others,
Yes.
as well as helping herself. I thank you, oh God, for the Matthew Foundation, oh God, and we asking that we continue to share one with the other and to continue to know that you are still God all by yourself, and that you will give these families the strength, give all of us the strength to be able to continue to hold out, even when it's those times that we feel that we're all alone
Thank you.
and
Yes.
by ourselves.
Thank you.
God, we know that you are right here next to us. I thank you for all of those that came in and was a part of the Zoom, that we are able to become the vessels that will share with others the good news that we heard tonight. Because we recognize, oh God, that only what we do for you will last, and that you have already made the promise to all of us.
Yes.
Continue to strengthen us, continue to guide us, continue to lead us, and continue to give us the direction in which you want us to, where you want us to be, and what you want us to do. In all of these blessings we ask, in your name we pray.
In Jesus' name.
Amen.
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 Thank you. Good
All
night.
right. See you,
Hi,
Jack.
everyone.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.